hop on.
We are hopping on, Steve. I said we're to get going.
Oh, my bad. I was watching the video and I was like, oh man, it's 9:05.
Well, I mean, hey everyone, like that. What an appropriate start for a very intense show. Like we were in that pre-show meeting for hours, just trying to figure out the right way to start the show. And then look at that, we just jumped right in the mix. I know you guys love to see it, but welcome to another week in Miami Hurricanes football. My name is Chris. Over there, that's Bill. That guy down there, that's Steve-O. Here to talk to you guys about, as it's been defined there in the chat by CF Cane Fam, as Hate Week. It's Miami versus Florida, which only sets up another Hate Week in a couple weeks. But, I mean, when you play rivals, you know, it gets exciting. And here we go, having a rival coming down to South Florida, the opportunity for College game day to come there. It's a big matchup on prime time. And Miami's sitting there in the top 5 in the country in a big spot where it feels like the old days are back again. But obviously, you got to go out there and win the game and get things done. Before we get to talking about all that, though, most importantly, Bill, how are we doing this week?
Doing good. You know, we smacked around little brother. Gonna smack around another little brother this weekend. Yeah, it's a big week. I was shocked that game day actually. I was coming to Miami for this one, but we'll take it. It's a big opportunity for the squad.
We'll talk about that in a little bit later, especially how insignificant it's going to be. But Steve, how are we doing this week?
Big vibing, fresh from a workout, feeling good, pumped, juice, blood's flowing, ready to talk Canes football. Obviously, there's a lot of belt to cheeks last weekend, and it's coming right up. We're about to repeat, and it's looking really good, to be honest with you. I think the totality of this Saturday is gonna have a very lasting effect, in my opinion. Regardless of whatever way it goes, I think I'm really confident in which way it's going, but it's going to have a lot of impact further than just September 20th.
That's a pretty big statement, Steve. I assume you're meaning like the recruits that are going to be in town, the impact it has on Florida's coaching situation. There really is a lot of things that could happen based upon whatever occurs this week in Miami. And obviously, Miami would love to be the ones, the catalyst for pushing this stuff forward. But we'll see how that goes. But thank you guys for joining us here on a Wednesday night. It's a lot of good stuff to talk about today. So appreciate you tuning in to 3 Live Games.
This is for the national championship for Nebraska.
He's a stud, that Brown, number 98.
Irvin's got it. Irvin's free.
Slips to the outside, tries to stiff arm, but he couldn't get by Ray Lewis.
Big time players. Step up in big game.
Hard dog. Don't ask me if I'm all right. Hell no. Devin Hester up to the races. That's what they needed.
That's Ricks going up for Thorpe, and it's intercepted near midfield. Sean Taylor's got another one.
Who else?
Who else but Sean? Who else but us here on a Wednesday night to talk Miami Hurricanes football? And as Steve-O, if you think about it every once in a while, I know you want to say to yourself, however long ago we came up with that intro and I picked the music for it. I know you say to yourself sometimes, man, Chris really picked the perfect song for this show. I know you're impressed by it, right, Steve-O?
The beat, it definitely goes with it, and it's just the audio is just, it gets me going every single time. Every time but couldn't get by Ray Lewis, I'm ready. I'm ready. He's a stud. That Brown, it's just perfect. I'm not gonna lie, Chris, you did your thing. The ambiance, it's ready to talk some football.
That's right. I'm starting to talk Miami Hurricanes football. And obviously we'll go to last week before we move ahead to this week, but a lot of good stuff already in the chat. Thank you guys for locking in there. Poor Knox about the wide receiver recruiting list. I saw the numbers. It was like number 1, number 2, number 3, number 5, number 8, number 10. It was like
11.
It's a lot.
19.
It's a lot. But certainly a big opportunity is coming at Miami here. Bagging Up's in here. That's very exciting to see him here. Like, we'll see if we get that Bill and Bagging Up double pick, which is undefeated for all time. Love to see it. We had a lot of good stuff. Malachi 316 said I just kicked your ass. That's good stuff too. But a lot of good stuff already floating out there, and a few good questions we'll get to in a little bit. I'm going to put this one up first for a second. Question was asked last week with this year's wide receivers compared to last year's. They're watching 3 games as a collective group. So you have Kane fan, who I think went last week. I think he's switching over to this week. Steve-O, any second thoughts about your opting for the guys from last year after watching them again, this group of receivers play out of their mind?
I wouldn't say out of their mind. They played good, but they didn't play out of their mind. Right? Let's chill.
Not enough Broward County to be playing out of their mind.
Yes, exactly. They did not. I think they played really well. Everybody made plays. But out of their mind is more than just like, 2 tutties. I'm thinking, everybody got a tutty, or, we have multiple guys over 100. That's out of their mind. But they is playing good. However, my big reason for picking that last year was because of Arroyo. We still have seen nada, honestly, from the tight end passing game, but I'm not trying to bash, trying to be negative because it's working. But I still would take my boy down the scene. I'm sure Carson would like that too. But no, it was definitely a good showcase, and I think I don't know if y'all. I'm gonna ramble about the offense. Let me stop.
I mean, look, we got plenty to talk about with Miami. There was a lot of people that put that USF game up there as being something that could be a surprise upset with USF, the team that's most likely to go to the playoff from the group of 4, and all this hype for USF after beating Boise in pretty convincing fashion, and then whooping up on Florida. And then a lot of that was that Cinderella talk about the Bulls with Byron Brown and all these things that they could do in this offense run by this guy who has been around it. He's run offenses for top teams around the country and all. And then they ran into the Miami Hurricanes, who put a quick end to that. And Miami dominated the game pretty much front to back. Got opportunities to get young guys in there late in the game too. And Byron Brown went from being a guy that's like, sneaky first-round pick hype, sneaky this, sneaky that, to being someone who was sneaking out of the stadium because he did not have a good game at all. So, Bill, just thoughts on that game, how that went. Did anything surprise you about the game the other night, or was it just what you expected? I mean, the score predictions are pretty close, as we'll get to later.
Yeah, I mean, we were all kind of, I guess, within range there. But it was much more in control than I thought. We pretty much had that them at arm's distance, midway through the first quarter-ish. The team responded well right after, a pretty lengthy play. But we dominated the trenches. Carson Beck had all day to throw again. The South Florida offense never really got going. They made 1 or 2 big plays down the field, but had to set up their field goals. I think they scored a touchdown late. Kind of a garbage touchdown. So I wasn't expecting an empty the bench type game, but that's what it turned into. And that's kind of maybe what we were expecting a little bit more in the beginning of the year. But after they beat UF, I think that kind of piqued Miami's interest a little bit more. And they came out ready, focused. There really wasn't too many negatives, right? I think any negative will be nitpicking at this point. A 49-12 victory over the number 18 team in the country. But that's probably a separate conversation.
Yeah, and talk about being ready and focused. There have been a lot of times over the past 20 years we talked about how Miami came out not ready, not focused when difficult situations were presented to them. And Steve-O, this in a situation like this where you've coached, you've played, you've coached, and that when you have delays like that, which happens in South Florida with weather and all that, you have delays like that, it's hard to keep everybody locked in that same mentality as before the game. So, but your thoughts on the game, but also thoughts about how Mario kept this team ready to go and locked in, and when they came out after the break, even better maybe than when before.
Well, this is what happens. You're fired up, you're juiced up, you're ready to get out there. You run through the tunnel. The crowd is there where I'm screaming in the stands. My family's screaming in the stands there. You run out, you pray in the end zone. And then right before kickoff, you start seeing a little bit of, this weather starting to, come in. It's starting to, get a little bit. Yeah, I agree. So I think that's just because we unleashed more. I'll get into that later. But it was just, you have that looming over your head, not as a player, but as a staff. So you're already preparing for, maybe a potential thing. It wasn't like it was out of nowhere. People had, on radar, hey, we might get a delay later in the game. It happened. But the mental fortitude of the players, the severity of just business-like approach that Coach Mario just feeds and breeds, and it's just culture. To be honest, that they just stayed locked in. They came out, got the strength staff got them right, got them juiced up, ready to go. Nobody was looking, nobody cramped, nobody did anything. They were ready to play. We didn't have injuries at all, so kudos to the staff for getting them ready. Even after when you warm up and you get cold, that's kind of when you start getting, muscles start getting stiff, things like that. So great job getting them ready to go. And when they came out, man, it was all business. So that's all culture, and definitely love. And I can't wait to talk about it. I do think it was Dawson's best game because there's so much that he did that we just haven't seen yet this year, at least. We threw our first RPO.
Carson Beck, natural runner. But we'll get to more of that offensive side of things in a second. But Kirk Ranger put $20 in for the cause. From all three fellas, thank you very much, Kirk.
Appreciate
From all three
you,
fellas, quickly, who low-key has impressed? So I get under the radar guys that are playing at a high level that maybe aren't getting all of the mentions that they should, but we'll go around the horn here. Bill, start with you. Any guys you can think of who have maybe still under the radar but done their job effectively?
I think a guy who we were texting about on Saturday, and Chase Smith, the savvy veteran, kind of making a play or two almost it seems like every game. So really quality depth, quality snaps that he's able to get in there. Torre or Wes or Popo, need breathers. It's really a luxury to have. So he was my first thought. I have a second one, but I'm sure someone's probably going to say it as well. So
go ahead, Bill. What you got? What you got?
I was going to throw out Samson, coming in, kind of stealing reps right from McCoy, who had the experience going in, but looks like looks like Samson may have taken that spot. I know they're still going to rotate, but he came in and is doing his thing, fits right into the best offensive line in the country.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people talking about what that could look like. Maybe the left guard spot is going to be weaker, and like you said, Samson has shown himself to play at a pretty high level and be able to elevate his game along with everybody else. Steve, who you got? And
just
people
to
in the chat,
on that last one.
Joseph in there too.
Yeah, throw him in the chat. But also when Pancake was at left guard, they threw Thomas McCoy at left tackle, and that was nasty. There was a couple good runs that they put on that side, and so kudos to just the other guys changing in and out. When we say we're 7, 8, 9 deep on offensive line, this is what we meant. When you could just plug and play guys at different places and have high production. But when I'm talking about a guy low key that has done his job but it's not getting it, I would say Tony Johnson at receiver. Had some opportunities at versus Bethune, didn't really get him. Had some opportunities versus USF and made the most out of one of them. On a catch up the middle, made someone miss and got up for 60 yards. And he could have had a touchdown earlier that same play to Josh Moore. He cooked them, and he in man coverage on a slant, in an off man, and then he had a slant earlier in the game from a tight bunch formation, which is the reason why I'm super excited about this receiving core moving forward with these tight splits. It's going to help out a lot. It's going to help everything from the reads. But not to ramble about that, but Tony Johnson ate the recreated line of scrimmage, double sticked, got inside, and instead of doing too much at the top of the route, he already took the inside leverage, just one at the top, boom, got flat, came back to the ball getting negative, and then was able to receive the ball and get upfield just a little bit before the safety came and made a big hit. So I'm high on Tony Johnson. We don't know the status of JoJo. It was nice to see him make plays, and he was open. He had other opportunities, so I think that's someone who could grow in this offense. Especially, we don't know the status of JoJo, but it was nice to see. Teams are going to try to take away Malley. Teams are going to try to take away CJ. We know that they're still going to get their their touches, but when they're trying to do all that, guess what? It's single coverage on Joshua Moore, a freshman, and he blurs you. And then single coverage on a guy who's a senior who's been playing 4 years at different levels, Power 5 last year technically at Cincinnati. He's ready to go. So it's nice to see the depth of the receiving room. Keelan Marion, we went ahead and isolated him one-on-one, and he makes a tremendous catch over the shoulder, which was a beautiful ball. That was a dime to the outside shoulder. When they say, oh my God, Carson Beck's driving up, the NFL draft boards, it's because throws like that. But that was just great, just a great play from Marion. So just nice to see when teams are trying to take away Malley, teams are trying to take away CJ, we can go one-on-one with I just named like 3 guys who just made plays one-on-one. So that's just lovely.
Yeah, and like Keelan Marion, the connection he has with Beck, and Bill and I was talking about it during the game too. Like a guy that you didn't. I mean, I don't know what we expected necessarily from Marion. I know we talked about him before the season as like he could be a good piece, but as really solidifying himself as one of the guys we look to the most in that receiving core. Like all of those guys, like there's no downturn, and like Josh Moore getting an opportunity to play at a high level and proving himself immediately. So you got 2 true freshmen out there. You got 2 older guys that transferred in, really like running the gamut of all guys that are having success out from Miami. So it's the kind of thing you love to see for sure. For my guys, I would say probably top of the list, and it's because it's something that we talked about a lot before the season, because it was one of our biggest problems last year. I know when we got Poyser, one of the things was like he's a tackler, he's not going to miss any tackles, that kind of stuff. But I mean, Jacoby Thomas, rated as one of the top PFF guys in the country, at the safety position last week. He doesn't miss tackles. He had, I think, 8 stops or something in the game the other night. And, like, almost every one of them was him, like, running the alley and playing, like, in space and, like, making a tackle out where if he missed a tackle, a big play could have been had. And he didn't miss tackles. He didn't miss a single one. He had 8 opportunities. He made 8 stops.
Forced fumble, too, with a shoulder pad right on the foot. That's teach tape. They're going to show that. Literally, that's teach tape.
Yeah,
Quarterback.
Quarterback
draw right up with no linebackers in sight, 1-on-1, 10 yards, space in between you, and Byron Brown's a good player. That is teach tape.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff you're looking at. Like from the safety position, we went from having, a safety group last year that, the fall off was noticeable. Now it's going to be a fall off no matter what. We lose an All-American, but still the fall off was palpable. And then this year, I feel like we have some really solid players back there. And, you bring in 100 guys in the portal to play DB. You figure there's going to be some playmakers there, but it seems like almost all of those guys are legit players. Even Brantley got out there and made a play. I think he got hurt like almost right after it. But, Jacoby Thomas, Keontae Scott out there making plays in the nickel. We see O'Connor out there getting snaps, making plays, and obviously like Lucas and the top guys. So, love to see what they're doing out there. It really, and then I know CJ Daniels is making the big splash plays, but I really feel like CJ Daniels, as Beck rises up those draft charts, so will CJ. Because like the hands he's shown, like the hand-eye coordination and the focus to make some of these catches, it's remarkable that he has that kind of skill set. And it's going to be one of those deals like we're looking at it. Wherever Cam goes, I bet X goes, and it turned out to be true. I feel like wherever Carson Beck goes, CJ Daniels might find his way there too, because he's going to be like, oh, yeah, get that guy. You get that guy. I promise you he will come down with it. And
that's 3 weeks. That's 3 like highlight reel catches between the one-hander against Notre Dame, the touchdown catch, week 2, and then that insane catch against USF as well. So it's like a highlight reel catch a game is pretty dang good.
There's Port Knox giving a shout out to Bryce Fitzgerald. Dude, like always knows.
Tell you guys, I tried to tell you.
Yeah, Bill was right on it. But Steve-O called out a couple of true freshmen. He was like, these are the guys. And then I feel like when you get Fitzgerald and Baby Jesus on the other side, like pretty good setup. I tried to explain to my daughter, we're watching a game, and I tried to explain to her that they call that kid Baby Jesus. And he was like, yeah, I was like, yeah, that's how good he was. He's like, Jesus? And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. It's pretty damn good. So she figured it out. But yeah, so like you're pretty on point with how that goes. A couple other things, New King God, what's up? Josh Moore definitely getting some mention there. The backs getting probably more mention here. Brockermeyer from Palm Coast Canes solidifying the center position. It really is like you want to play center for a year, come to Miami. Maybe not next year because we should have a guy.
Yeah, we should have a guy too next year. But yeah, definitely back to back and back.
How about the kicker? Yeah.
Carter Davis, he balling.
Yeah. I'll go back to that tweet or the text I sent to Bill. I've never trusted a person less than this kicker right here in this moment. And he's done nothing but prove me wrong. So I'll absolutely take it.
Yeah, he be active on
Carter Borregales.
What's that?
He be active on
Carter
Twitter too.
Borregales.
Yeah. We got Chase Smith. Chase Smith. Blah, blah, blah.
Chill. That's I don't know if he's out playing today, but those two together were insane for us in 7-on-7. That would have been insane for us, but it was unfair. But yeah, nah. Bryce is like that. I'm happy he's a Cane.
Revelation of Fitzgerald makes me get over the breakup of Hilton Stubbs. But anyway, a lot of good guys in that. Good question there, Kirk. A lot of good players in that realm of it. Well, let's get to what we're talking about with the offense before, Steve-O, because you started to talk a little bit about, opening up the playbook and what that looked like. Shannon Dawson, back and I've said before, I felt like what he had was his best game. Then Steve-O, you seem to be on board with agreeing a lot of that. Carson Beck, a guy who, if we look, I said this almost every week now, I'm saying the same thing, but if you look at the national quarterback landscape, you have some guys who were hyped up before the season who have been abysmal, absolutely horrendous, like your Arch Mannings of the world, right? You have other guys like Alagway. I don't want to talk too much right now because we'll see. But he threw 5 picks last week. It's not ideal. But then you have a guy like Carson Beck who took a lot of heat. And what has Carson Beck done? But basically outplay almost every single quarterback across the country. If he's not the best quarterback in the country right now, it's maybe the dude from Texas Tech, maybe the dude from Baylor. But otherwise, there's not many other guys in that conversation, I think, at this very second. So possible back-to-back number ones. We'll talk about that at the end of the season. But Steve-O, what have you seen from the offense, especially this game against USF, that makes you say we're really starting to pick things up? And I assume go ahead.
We started the tight bunch formations, a lot of tight sets, getting guys, basically schemed open in man coverage. We're calling man beaters with a zone beater inside, and guys are just also being smart and aware, and just technically sound receiving group. I mean, their technique is on point. It's just 2 seniors making a play when you see Marion and Carson Beck. He reads the number 2 defender, pulls the ball, finally throws the RPO slant for the first time. Wish it was a little ahead of him so we can start seeing, Marion with that catch and run ability. That's kind of what we're waiting for, to see a big play with his speed. But just 2 seniors executing on that. That slip screen fake to Lofton and to Malley jumped up and tipped it. I think there was some spacing issue. That was the only issue I had on the offense all night. It's just I think Tony Johnson was supposed to be a little wider. Malley's at the top of the numbers. He's at the bottom of the numbers. If you get wider towards the sideline, that creates that gap with that safety. It looked like Carson Beck was throwing it to Tony Johnson back shoulder. It probably would have got there. I think he would have got nailed for sure. But the ball would have got there. So if you were a little bit wider, that would have probably gave him obviously more room to throw you away from the safety. But I was happy to see that, a shot play. Just, hey, let's take this shot. But it was a lot of bunch sets, and that helps because our receivers were blocking really well in the running game. You see Malachi Tony pancaking somebody on that long Fletcher run. Marion's blocking a guy all the way down to the 3-yard line. So the receiving core, when they're willing to block like that, the defense never knows what's coming. Because they're so involved in the run game. That's how Josh Moore slipped across on that mesh route on that drag. You think they're blocking, and you just slip right across. So you're putting in the work. Now you're getting to pay the dividends of it. So I really like those bunch formations. It gives you a lot. And you've seen the end around in Marion. Now you have to worry about this guy with 4.4 speed who ran 3 angles to get 12, 14 yards. Imagine just running one more angle out and now he's gone. So it just puts a lot on the plate. So I really liked it. We had some RPOs, like I said, but I love the tight formations. In my opinion, I think that's the best, especially since we don't have to have CJ fight, for everything on the outside. We could just give him easier looks in the middle and, convert some first downs. He's blocking just like everybody else, so we can get him easier touches. He shouldn't have to always be on the outside, going against bump and run.
For sure. And Bill, what have you seen from the offense that's gotten you excited over the past couple of weeks?
I think just the overall balance. You see, Fletcher, who looks way more explosive. It looks a little leaner, but yet he's still really hard to bring down. But you kind of just, as you're watching the game, it's just the ball's being spread around. We're running, we're passing, we're taking shots, we're throwing short. It's just a really balanced approach. When you have the offensive line to do that, that is really hard to defend. We talked about it last year. I think we were probably, and rightfully so, right, a little more pass happy last year, obviously with Cam Ward, but this year just feels so much more balanced. And I think that's a really positive thing going forward, that we've already established that Carson Beck is going to be a high level quarterback, and then we're also going to have a very powerful run game to go along with that. So kind of pick your poison, and we'll probably do the opposite.
Yeah, I talk about Mark Fletcher, like you said, he seems to have like slimmed himself down a bit, but he's running maybe with more power, maybe just the nature of like how he's able to get to the spot and deliver. But how many times in the past couple of weeks has he been dragging people for 3 or 4 extra yards and then letting the offensive line catch up and then push him for another 3 or 4 yards? But he's been a domino out there.
Yeah, and it's because he's been healthy, so he's been able to go through the strength and conditioning programs, not playing catch up, just trying to get ready for the season. Weeks out, if not weeks into it, he's healthy. Went through the season, getting second running back touches, but a lot of touches. Was able to get his feet wet and ball out. And then at the end of the day, he went through that spring, now fall. He's in the best shape of his Miami career. Because even as a freshman, when he got on the scene, he hurt his ankle. So he's never been 100% through the offseason. So this is just the dividends of that. And you say he slims down, he looks crazy. He looks 225 chiseled. So it's just really, really just the fact that he's a full participant and what we got going on in strength and conditioning wise, and because they look stronger, faster, bigger. This is what this is what they tell you it's supposed to look like.
Yep, that's exactly right. It looks like all together, all told, looks like it. But then when you have a back like that, that's when you really like put your stamp on it and say like, yeah, this guy's a closer. There's the guy you want to carry the ball when you need to get a couple first downs to end the game. Mark Fletcher has all that written all over him. And then you have all the guys behind him too, but Mark Fletcher especially.
Yeah, he's a winner. We call them, the kids call him gamers. Like, yeah, Mark Fletcher is a gamer.
I think there's going to be more than one opportunity for have the game on his back the rest of the way this season. One question that just popped up. New King God said, y'all opinion, what are the ways that the team can improve on both sides of the ball? Both sides of the ball. Let's start with the offensive side because we're talking offense. Steve, off the top of your head, anything that you think they could do to improve, even if it's something minor, because obviously we haven't seen the full state of this offense yet.
Tight ends in the middle of the field, and I would also say deep shots. We hit 2 last week, but we and 3 actually I'll call it, but that was kind of underthrown, and it was just a great play from Josh Moore. I'm waiting to see that Carson Beck launch a ball and the guy's just running under it and blur. Like, I'm waiting for that. We got the head tap last week, which I'm very thankful for from Joshua Moore. So I'm waiting to see that. So maybe I could say that, but it's not really an improvement. Maybe that's just like me I just want to see it. But that's just something we haven't seen yet in the offense, just blur. So no, I don't really have any real complaints.
Bill?
I think maybe, we're kind of bagging up Prisco and made a little more, diversity in the run game. But I think, getting Lyle back and, maybe incorporating Pringle a little bit more will give you a little bit more big play ability. So, if that defense does, mess up their run fits or, they make a mistake that someone could take it to the house, we're probably really good, yards per carry in that, within 20 yards or so, but maybe just getting some more explosive runs in the run game.
I think both of you guys have the idea of like finding a way to manufacture a couple more big plays, whether it's like the deep shots or it's the young backs like getting something out in the open. Seems like the only way that I think that this offense can look any better. Certainly feels like it's clicking on a lot of those cylinders, if not all. So maybe a couple more big plays here and there. Then kicking over to the defensive side, It's hard to be greedy on the defensive side when we're looking at what we had last year, right? It's like yesterday was that buffet place where it's like a really mediocre. Nobody likes to go there, but it's it's
Golden Corral.
Golden Corral. Like, yeah, yesterday we were having Golden Corral, and today we're at like a 5-star restaurant, and we're like, you know what? But I did say medium rare. Like, it feels a little medium to me, like paying $85 for a steak. But still, like, is there anything? Bill, I'll start with you first. Anything defensively that you think we could improve?
I mean, we're getting pressure. Maybe outside of Bryce Fitzgerald, does anybody else have an interception in the secondary? Maybe just a little bit more ball hawking ability. Right? No one else other than Bryce, correct?
Nope. Keontae Scott had a couple opportunities and he didn't come down with them, and nobody else has.
So yeah, maybe a little bit more, playmaking ability, from whether it's Poyser, Scott, Lucas, OJ, whoever. I mean, we also have to fix the once a game coverage bust that I think we've seen every game so far. But if we can start getting our hands on the balls going the other way, that takes a good defense to elite defense.
Sorry, I'm looking up Golden Corral locations right now. Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, I was gonna go that as well, as long as the deep completions. We gave up a couple in man coverage deep. With the guy there wasn't a blown, so you respect that, but we can't be getting blurred like that. However, it just happens when you play defensive back. So I'm not going to put too much stock into it, but I would honestly say more sacks. I think we have a lot of pressures. I think we could get our sack numbers up a little bit, to be real with you. I think teams are starting to get that ball out fast. They know there's D-lines coming. I really think we need to get the quarterback down a little bit more to just push this defense the top of the country. I think that's what it's lacking, just more sacks. So we got some last week. We got some late in the game. Some young guys like Booker Pickett was able to get a sack in. So you're encouraged by obviously that, but you just want to see I just want to see the quarterback on the ground a little bit more, which everybody wants to.
Yeah. Giving that to some of the young kids. I mean, maybe it's be the nature of getting some of the young guys on the field a little bit. The guys like you said, you get Pickett out there, see what he can do. And Lightfoot, obviously, he's got the crazy pass rush potential. Like, he's able to get home a little bit, built his own confidence. That'd be great. Just because I can't let things go. Here's the Golden Corral locations near Miami. We got, a lot more than you expect. Steve, have you been to any of these locations?
I wouldn't know. I've probably been to one in Broward, but yeah, I've been to Golden Corral. It's mid, but it is what it is. It was. They had the ice cream section going on, so.
This one.
No,
Homestead.
No. That's literally like you're in the Keys, bro.
Where we going, Steve-O?
I don't know.
Fort Myers over here. Near Buckingham. You ever been to this one near Buckingham? Right by Texas Roadhouse too. Look at that. Good to know. That's for backing up. Texas Roadhouse. That's a restaurant. That is a chain restaurant that you can hang your hat on. You big Texas Roadhouse guy, Steve-O?
I used to like the original Roadhouse, with the peanuts everywhere, and the bread there was immaculate.
The biscuits, right? With that cinnamon butter.
Nah, it became that. It used to be different, but it's good.
I'm a big Texas Roadhouse guy, Steve-O. They still do the peanuts, not quite like the extent that they used to, but they still got the peanuts out there. And they got 20% off every Thursday for police, fire, nurses, teachers, all kinds of stuff. So 20%, bang, right away. My wife's a nurse, bang, 20%, walking in the door. Yes, son, you can get the bigger steak. Get this 20% off night at Texas Roadhouse. So we're having a good time.
Yeah,
do they actually verify ID for that?
They used to, but we go there so often. They're just like, "Oh, you guys again."
Can I just show them? Be like, yeah, I'm a nurse.
You don't look like a nurse. I don't know what exactly you look like, but not a nurse. Anyway, we got comments on there. Not many up in Georgia, Florida City. That's Michael King's Golden Corral. Point Knox has been the one on Pines Boulevard near Douglas a few times.
I ain't seen one in that area. Maybe.
We have 4 in Orlando. Yeah, that I could see. I could see Orlando because it's just the touristy stuff. And Port Knox at Texas Roadhouse tonight. Good Port Knox. Good job, Port Knox. That would be what help. We get a hell of a sponsorship. We get Texas Roadhouse. That would be like the peak sponsor, I think.
You're already getting 20%. That boy greedy.
25%. We'll sell it every night, man. 25%. But anyway,
go crazy for if we had that sponsorship. I would eat like steaks live. I'd eat like 20 steaks a night if we had to.
I don't think you would have to do that.
You're beefing up.
Gotta show off the product. They can just mail it to me.
Let's get some of those like sides. Get like the loaded mashed potato sides. Just go for that a little bit. Whatever we got to do. I mean, I'm a big cinnamon butter guy myself, but we get some of the old school butter if we need to for Steve-O, whatever works. But either way, so I mean, like just like Texas Roadhouse, consistency is key, and that's what the defense has been so far this season. And now we go into a game against the Florida Gators where consistency, not so much, because we have a guy, a quarterback in DJ Lagway, who has had moments of being pretty good and moments of being not so good. And last week was, I think, a great indicator of what that looks like. If you ignore the interceptions and the incompletions and the bad throws, there were some good things. But, I mean, it's also very hard to ignore all of the bad things that you saw. So, Steve-O, just your thoughts right now, because Lagway's a guy that's always gotten hype from a lot of people. Like, what do you think he is right now? Because there are people, like, throwing out the Anthony Richardson comparisons and stuff like that. But, like, what do you think he is right now as a quarterback? Like, how far away is he from being what he's supposed to be?
I was never as high as him as on everybody, but it's not because I thought he's trash. I'm not going to lie to you. I just think he needed more time to develop. But that was more like a mental thing because he was in a very dumbed down thing in Texas, just playing in not that big of division, just boom, boom, just one read. And, that's why he didn't really do that well in 7-on-7. That was the rap on him. He is one read and then he's done. He's like a Tua. That's what they were saying. So I thought he needed a little bit more scheming for him. I think the offense is a little stale. When you look at the play calling, it's just super vanilla. It's like what an NFL quarterback, it's like what a rookie NFL quarterback will be running. And this is college football. Like, no. Like, this game is about momentum swings. You need to dial something up. Like straight up, Billy. So I think that's definitely a factor. But when you're rolling out to your left, you've already thrown 4 interceptions, and you decide to throw a receiver who was running a flat route or a running back running a flat route, just sitting there 3 yards to the sideline. You decide to just chuck it over there. Bill could have got up from his chair or walked over there and intercepted that ball, like before DJ Pickett got there. Like, that is just, I don't even care no more. I've thrown 4 interceptions. My coaches looked at me in the eye 4 times, and I told them I wasn't going to do it again. I'd go out there, and I'd do that. I mean, the locker room has to be either rallying around him because of the national just hate. Not hate, but just everybody calling him cheeks, So locker room can tend to, get around a guy like that and rally because, at the end of the day, he's still your teammate and everybody talking ish. So even though you're probably agreeing, but at the same time, it's going to get you fired up.
Right.
So they're going to come out and play for him. But once you lose again, and then he's like, damn, they're going to be like, damn, maybe he really is that trash. And then that's when it all falls apart. I don't think it falls apart this week. I think they're going to give us their best football. Their defense doesn't look bad to me, in my opinion. But the LSU offense just didn't look good either. So I have really no way to truly scale out that defense. I think we're going to pick them apart, but I do think they'll be tougher in the running game. They'll be closer to Notre Dame running game where we're going again, 3 yards, 4 yards consistently, not the breaking that we saw. Unless Jordan Loud play, I think maybe he could break 1 or 2. Well, Fletch can. Let me not say something crazy like that, but I just think it'll be more of those games where we're going to wear them down. I don't see explosive running plays all day from the beginning like USF.
Really interesting that LSU game is always going to stand out as being so odd because LSU on paper, their offense should be really, really good. Like with the transfers they got at receiver and Nussmeier being I think he's a 5th-year guy, if not a 4th-year guy. Like, it should be good, and yet you watch it and you're just like, nah. The Brian Kelly effect. Like, he immediately puts a cap on whatever the offense can be everywhere he goes, it seems, because it never really clicks into high gear while he's around. But either way, Florida did have a good, solid job on defense. A couple guys mentioned that in the chat. Yeah, they have 4 guys. They have the 2 Andersons. They got Barry and Brown. They got all these guys that should be playmakers. Was it Xavier Thomas? They got all these guys that should be playmakers, and it's not clicking. But Bill, thoughts on Lagway and where he's sitting right now?
I mean, he's got all the physical traits that you could want, right? And I think that's why, he was hyped to no end, right, by pretty much every national pundit out there. But I think that, a couple things, they ignored the red flags last year, which is a mediocre stat line. As in general, even, if you want to factor in the non-FCS games, it gets even worse. He's in a scheme that, quite frankly, is probably not doing him any favors. So is he capable of having, a really, a good game against us? Yeah, because he can, deliver the ball, and Florida's got, some guys that, have some, really good speed, so that they can potentially make some big plays. I do think that, Napier's coaching for his job, right? So, you're going to get the best. Even, Lagway to a degree is, playing for his kind of season, right? If they lose this game, it's a wrap for them. So I think they'll come out. I think they're going to try and just, pound the rock, shorten the game, keep it as close as possible, and hope that either Miami makes a mistake or, try and, Lagway makes, some kind of big play. But I think they're going to try and keep him throwing like under 25 times. I think he threw it over 40 times against LSU. And I think that's not the type of quarterback he should be or is, especially in that scheme. But, I think a lot of Miami fans, even Florida fans, I don't know if they're trying to do the reverse jinx or not, but pretty much, just calling this an easy blowout. I don't foresee that happening. I think it's going to be, a dogfight. I think they're going to, give us their best. They're going to throw everything they have. And I think that the difference ends up being our trenches. But, Lagway to a degree scares me just because he can make big plays, right? He can throw. He has elite throws on tape, but he also just misses the easy ones, which is perplexing. But I think it's going to be a dogfight.
All right. So, looking at it from the coaching perspective, because Lagway's. What do you guys make of this Lagway? This is his 4th game. He's going to call it a day after this and transfer. Do you guys take that seriously at all, or is this one of those things that people are saying because they're just going to assume that Napier's out, so he's out, and that's just the way the world is now?
That's a stupid thing. If the coach gets fired, the 30-day window is there, and what is him redshirting this year really going to do? If you want to be an elite quarterback, you'd still have 2 years eligibility, if not even more. If he was able to claim medical redshirt for his freshman year or whatever. But no, I don't care. He's going to be out there Saturday. That's all I care about. And I do think he gonna throw a book or two. This is the week for guys to get some interceptions. To be honest with you, it can't just be Bryce Fitzgerald. It has to be somebody else as well, getting their hands on the football. Because this guy, when you rattle him, he's just passing him out like candy. So I would really much hope that this is the time where the defense gets the quarterback on the ground a little bit more. They definitely picked up the sacks versus USF, obviously versus Bethune as well. But, keep picking up the sacks, keep putting the quarterback on the ground, and speed up his clock even more where he just makes a mistake. The scheme's kind of vanilla. It's bland. When an offense is sputtering, it's hard. It's easy to point the finger at one person or this or Billy or that. There's probably been good play calls where DJ Lagway missed the throws or missed the read or did this, and there's probably been terrible play calls and just guys not open, and then Lagway forces it. So it's a mixture of both. So there's always that chance that, Florida dials up a play at the right time and Lagway's able to hit it. but I just don't think they could sustain an offense against our defense for 4 quarters.
Which is fair with and like on the Billy Napier side, they can't make the sustained effort here. Like, how much does that play into this? Knowing that Napier is more like than not, no matter how this thing goes, and this it's gonna get fired at some point this season. Like, how does that weigh on the team, Steve-O? Like, knowing that you're going in there and the guy that got you there is probably not going to be there for very much longer. Like, is it a rallying thing? Is it a shut down the studio kind of thing, or does it depend on the team individual culture?
Well, if they F with Billy, then it's gonna be like wait like a squat, and you gotta get your behind up, and you're looking nothing but up. And you can talk about Billy, but I mean they know their season's over if they start off 1-3. They got to get 2-2, get a top 10 win, and save their season. That's what they're on right now. It's really the breaking point this early because they do not have a very forgiving schedule. They could win this game and have a little bit of leeway if Billy makes it out of that year only losing 4 games. He probably keeps his job with the schedule they have. So they can't afford to lose a game here this early. So I think they're playing for their lives, and that's more just on a player level. On a coaching level, it's hard not to think about it, but once you think about it, it just crumbles and falls apart. Every time you see guys on the hot seat, and it's just every move is under a magnifying glass. It's already like that for head coaches, but when you're on the hot seat, everything, like you see how they did the guys at UCLA and Virginia Tech. I mean, it was so nasty from the point where you had people at the schools saying it, this, that, like just publicly.
Yeah.
So they just kind of just had to. But crazy to see 2 Power 4 openings, just like that. So that's really what it is now.
Real quick on that, I don't know if it was legit or not. I saw some Lashley stuff where like connections between Lashley and UCLA, which honestly at this point seems like, I know it's the Big Ten and all that, feels like it's not a positive move for him because that seems like an absolute dead zone to go to UCLA at this point. Like UCLA almost has no hope to do anything.
Unless they have some kind of secret war chest of cash that they're willing to put in there.
I don't think they have more money than SMU does.
Because even if you think about it, the 2 jobs that are open, right? UCLA, Virginia Tech. Is Virginia Tech the better job because you can, win, maybe 7 to 10 games, in the next couple of years and just land a bigger job? Like, I don't really see a path to even winning like 8 games a year at UCLA in its current state.
No.
They're not getting full revenue from the Big Ten, so they're going to start getting from what they were getting 30 million, something like that. At Pac-12, 32 million. They're going to start getting close to like 90 to 100 in the next couple of years. So that athletic department is just currently like under a lot of debt. So that's probably going to relieve a lot of that. And then once you see that, they'll probably be, knowing that there's pressure from the Big Ten for them to commit financially to football is coming. But as of right now, I would not touch that job. It just needs to be, the money needs to start flowing through that program for them to just look anything but respectable. I mean, Nico, he might see him in that portal again relatively quickly. I don't know if he stays at UCLA.
I mean, what a disaster that turned out for him. Like, that could not have ended up any worse than what it did. I'm sure he was very happy to see that Georgia pulled off that win this past weekend, or else like that Tennessee hype would have been pretty out of control. But it is what it is. But either way, before we get out, we finish up here. Like, is there anything else, like as far as things that you're looking at for this game? Obviously, it's a big rivalry game, and if you go back to the history of Miami versus Florida, there were some really, really significant games in there. Games that, and not even necessarily ones that you automatically think of. Obviously, think about the Brock game. You think about Maurice Mo Sykes running that interception back. What'd you say?
The KB to Teddy.
Kevin Beard. You think about we think about the 3 of us, Stephen Morris, having a hell of a game against the Florida Gators because
Denzel Perryman helmet right on the football, baby. That thing.
Denzel Perryman, Dan Stubbs breaking legs out there. back in the 80s. So like, it's a rivalry that has gone Miami's way quite a bit. It obviously went Florida's way for a little bit there when they had a guy named Tebow and all that. But certainly has been Miami's for the majority of the time here within the past few decades. So, like, is there anyone out there you think on the roster right now you're like, this? I think we said it last week, but this is the guy where if this guy is a big game, I know that we're going to win this game. Like, easy to say Beck, easy to say some of these other guys, but is there anyone out there like in the past we talked about back and running backs and this and that? But Steve, I'll go to you first. Like, what guy, if we come out here and we're like, this guy played his butt off, this guy had a huge game, we're like, oh yeah, we.
Honestly, with not going one of our studs, it'll be easy to say Bane or Messidor or something like that. But honestly, if Ahmad Moten, who's been balling, if he plays like how he played versus USF, yeah, we are going to rattle DJ Lagway. It's over. Yeah, Ahmad Moten's been low-key probably our best defensive tackle. But the group is just playing really well. But just in my opinion, I know he's from Broward. I'm a little biased, but he got that juice, bro. He just make plays in the backfield. So if I think you saying, hey, if you come from that, we get home from the stadium around 10, 11 o'clock, and you're talking with your family about the game, and they're talking about, damn, 99. Like, then I think, we probably win that game handedly. I think DJ Lagway, probably not another 5 interception game. That's probably never going to happen again. But, a couple.
Yeah. Bill?
With Caleb Banks, their best defensive lineman being out, pretty much any running back. So whether it's Fletcher, any running back that has a big game, at least that'll show that we're controlling the line of scrimmage, we're dominating the trenches. Fletcher, can Fletcher average 5 or 6 yards a carry? Florida, I think like Steve was saying, Florida's defense is actually good. They had DJ Lagway, I think 5 picks, and they only gave up 20 points to LSU. Is a pretty crazy stat. I don't know if that's ever happened in football history before. So it's not going to be easy. I think our drives are gonna we're gonna have to grind it out a little bit. But if we're running the bar, running backs are having a big day. That'll definitely be a good sign.
I see the trend in the chat right now is DBs, and I'm going to follow them with that. Give me OJ. OJ, we were out of there saying, man, that was OJ's breakout game. That was where OJ stamped himself as one of the top corners in the country. Get himself a couple picks, maybe take one to the house, something like that. Just the national stage, prime time, game day was there. Got the real announcers. He can have a big game in this one. Maybe it'll be one of those clips that we talk about for a long time too. If he brings one back to the house at home. So with that, here we are, boys. Prediction time, the highlight of everyone's viewing experience of 3 Live Canes. We get to the predictions and we see if we were right or who was right, and hopefully that Billy was wrong. So, Bill, I hand the floor over to you.
I actually came in last this week.
Yes.
Yes. Disappointing effort. You came in second to last, so not.
Damn.
Oh yeah.
Uh-oh.
So we say every week, if you're under 10, you got a shot. So CF Kane fan and Steve-O both coming in under 10.
Woo.
And it really wasn't that close. Steve-O taking the win. He was only off by a combined 5 points.
It's Steve-O.
What I had again?
45-13.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
locking in his first win of the year.
Good
Let's
stuff,
get it.
Steve-O.
We on the board, baby.
And Steve-O, most importantly, Bill came in last.
I am winless for 3 weeks.
If you come back and win this, I'm going to be furious. Furious, Bill. Absolutely furious.
It's coming.
Yeah, start dropping them in the chat. Y'all know what's coming.
Yeah,
dramatic comeback. ACC play 8-0. I'll give you this week.
All right, so everyone start putting your stuff in the chat. We'll go around. Steve-O, you're the winner. You can pick the order, man. Go as long as Bill goes first.
I'll start it off. I was thinking about it before we got on the show anyway. I knew it was coming.
95-0.
I do think it's a blowout. I want to say 45-17.
Ooh, very similar to your USF prediction.
Yeah, very similar talent gap.
Oof.
All right, Steve-O, who's next?
We'll go, Bill.
All right.
My boy, my guy, Steve-O.
I'll let you cut Bill. Like you always do.
I'm going to go 31-23.
You think they put in a backup? That's the only way they scored 23 points. If a backup just comes out and he's Dan Marino.
I see like a 31-17 type game and then a garbage touchdown.
It's Florida, bro. The dark garbage touchdown could be anytime.
All right. I'm going to go 34-13.
What was that?
34-13.
Okay. Then Steve-O, as the champ, you get to pick the chat.
All right, let me throw some stuff up here for you, Steve-O. We
Yeah,
got a super old one from way at the beginning of the show. Heel 919 said 30-17. Kept it in there. We got Port Knox 38-10. Bag it up 26-17, which completes the bag it up Bill double pick for glory. So Miami locked to win.
Lock in your money lines.
Uncle Joey 99's got 52-16. He just said it again. Like, obviously, got you, man. Grim's got 49-15. B Harp 34-13. Make out Florida 31-13. CF Fan 28-12. I like 12, interesting number. Michael Becker 42-13. The Myth, the Legend 55-10 Canes. And Martin Doobie with the 58-7. Billy gets fired the next day.
That just sounds awesome. But if I had to pick, I would honestly go with the Myth, the Legend. Because when I seen it drop in the chat, I was like, yeah, in front of like 10 5-star receivers. Yeah, empty the clip, like air it out. So I would love that. I would love for this to be the game where they give Carson Beck the September Heisman.
That would be 9 scoring drives, 55-10.
Yeah, well, I mean, Lagway could throw you a couple.
That's fair. Fair point. All right, so there you go. So lock that in. The Myth, the Legend is the pick for the week, fan pick for the week. And now we go to everyone's favorite segment: crazy things that are going to happen in this game.
They never happen.
Has anyone ever gotten one of these?
I hit something last year.
Or something really random.
He padded them stats. I can't remember.
It's bothering me, but it wasn't like a super crazy prediction, but it was. Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but to recap last week, Chris said 2 strip sacks. Steve-O said,
I mean, we got one. Like, if we got a strip sack and then the forced fumble on Byron Brown, which wasn't a sack, I think I would have asked the council to count that. But we didn't get the second.
Well, if I didn't get the Carter Davis field goal week 1 with the game winner prediction, I ain't giving you nothing.
Of course, I wasn't going to give that to you, Phil. Of course.
Steve-O had a defensive lineman interception. I said a wide receiver rushing touchdown, which if Marion broke that, or he was like one angle away. Yeah. And then Michelle, if you're out there, you had your kicker touchdown prediction, which is probably one of the most random ones we've had. I think.
Wild. I like.
They would have built a statue of Carter Davis. He scored a tutty.
Just step on someone right to the ground and scored it.
Yeah, spin move.
Real quick before we get to our picks, I like the Myth, the Legends guess here. Just we get a punt return. That's it.
We stop him once on defense.
We just return the punt for some amount of yards. 7-yard punt return. He's out there fist pumping. Yeah,
it's me.
Yeah,
I got it.
Say my name, Bill. Say my name. Anyway, knowing full well what he means, but I have the ability to do that because we're hosting the show. But anyway, so go ahead. What order we want to do for this one? Steve, you're still, we'll call you the winner, so you can still pick what order you want to do.
I'm gonna go Carson Beck 5 touchdown passes.
Oh, I had something kind of similar to that. But I don't know. I'll throw mine out there. If you don't mind, I jump in here. I was gonna say Carson Beck throws the same amount of touchdowns as Lagway throws interceptions.
That's good. Beck TDs equal Lagway interception.
It's interesting. It's cool. It's like it could happen, but at the same time would require a little bit of serendipity. Yeah. So I'm on board with it.
Sheesh.
I'll say 2 Florida players get ejected.
Oh,
that was out of left field.
I like that a lot. I like that a tremendous amount.
Or a coach, apparently.
that's what inspired it.
Yeah, but you might lose a coach out there.
All right, now let's get some parameters. If they get, at what point are we in like this is the start of this like time frame? So like if it's pregame and they get into a fight like in the tunnel and someone gets thrown out or like banned from the game, that counts, right? Because he's at the stadium.
Yeah, any altercation that happens at Hard Rock Stadium that results in you not being able to play.
What if
if it's like before the first play, like Jalen Carter?
All right,
like, yeah.
What if it's like the night before, like at the 2000 Sugar Bowl, like on Fight on Bourbon Street? What if it's like that and fighting just out there at like
Hard Rock
campus?
It has to be on premises.
Got it. All right, that's fair. All right, so let me get some of these fan ones in here. I'm going to go Martin Doobie's. I'm just going to put it back up there. He said Billy gets fired at halftime. So, I feel like that's a guess. Or I'm sorry, not at halftime. He gets fired the next day. I'm going to count that as a prediction. I'm going to count that, but that's one.
My original thought was about him getting fired, and then I saw that, so I didn't want to.
Okay, so I'm going to count Martin Doobie.
Yeah, we can roll with that. I'm cool with that.
For field. I'm just going to see if anything else is in here. Port Knox 7 sacks. Obviously, punt return. CF Kane fan to get a safety and a pick 6 and a scope and score. Okay. Obviously, scope and score, but I'm being super literal today, so I'm just going to say it. Malley throws a touchdown. That's it. I like that too.
Yeah.
I like that too. 3 defensive touchdowns.
We like the ones that don't happen. There's probably so much comments that just went to waste because we went with the crazier one.
Yeah, there's someone's out there just pissed. Like B-Harp's like he's right every week and we never notice because we're never picking his stuff. Magaduff's got a fumble return for a touchdown by Lucas. That would be great if he just pitches it like at the 5-yard line. And Ahmad Moten takes it in.
Yeah.
Keelan scores on a reverse. All right, what do you guys think?
Oh, besides Billy gets fired the next day,
we could do that one. I'm on board with he gets fired the next day, or I kind of like the Malley throws a touchdown one. Again, kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'm with it.
I like that one. Locking it in.
Yeah, Malley throws a TD.
Crib 305 is doubling down on it. Because Steve-O, you said it's nonsense. It'll never happen. Now he's fully locked in. He's going to be rooting for that more than anything else in this game.
Yeah, right. He's gonna be on the headset telling Dawson, "Go ahead." We all know he played quarterback at Heritage, and he played quarterback younger in his career, so it's not out of this world. But Crib definitely in the headset on the play sheet saying, "Yeah, do it." He's that devil on Coach Dawson's shoulder. Yeah, man, do it. Let it rip. Dial it in, bro.
He's gonna be like fantasy football players. Like at the end of the game, it's like one team's winning by 40. He's still screaming at the TV. Get Malley back out there. Get him out there.
Where's the package?
Every time Carson Beck's a little late coming off the sideline, he's like, "Oh, it's Malley's time. It's his time." Anyway, but that should be good. So good participation from you guys. We appreciate you guys jumping in for that. Well, hopefully, hey, we'll see if anybody gets some wins here. See if anybody gets some wins in that crazy one, and hopefully, I get another win in the predictions and to increase my lead over Bill, because I think I got to be up on like 5 games on Bill to be really confident that he's not going to win this season. I need like a 5-game lead here.
I mean, we're pretty far off this week, so yeah, that's it. I mean, I hope you're right, but
we shall see. We shall see. But that'll do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for watching the show. We appreciate it. It's a big week for Miami. Next week, a bye week, and kind of relax a little bit, but no relaxing headed into this weekend. Not for a primetime showdown with one of your most hated rivals, the Florida Gators. But before we get out of here, Bill, final thoughts for the people.
Florida, they're not dead yet, but we have the ability, for that final nail in the coffin. I do think if we beat them, that is it. Napier is done. Maybe even as soon as this week, but you cannot go 1-3 with losses to Miami and South Florida before you even start SEC play. I think Mario clearly, knows probably better than anyone, what's at stake, and with the chance to absolutely humiliate your rival, and probably a rival coach that you don't like, it's going to be fun. That's all I know.
A lot of stuff on the table too. All those recruits, everyone that's going to be there, a lot of money on the table in this game. Bill, all right, thank you, Steve. Final thoughts for the people.
Get the Hard Rock packet. So if you don't have your ticket, get it. If you don't have your plane ticket, get it. So definitely just get there and see you guys there. I can't wait. I'll be tailgating, and if you see you out there, say what's up and go Canes. I'm super excited. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be my girl's first Hurricane game, so she's getting a good one for the first one.
That's this is a hell of a game, a hell of an experience for game number 1.
Yeah, we was potentially gonna ease her in Bethune, but it just shook out this way.
It's a heck of a lot better, I think, for her and for the whole experience. Hopefully, it comes out of there with a win. So appreciate everybody that tuned in for the show. Obviously, everybody in the chat had a great time, through the course of the hour to throw in some ideas and jokes and all that kind of fun stuff back and forth. It's always one of the best parts of the whole thing. Thank you to the guys at CanesInSight for allowing us to do what we do on their channel. Thank you to Miami Hurricanes for winning games and having us happy, because we've had some really sad, pathetic weeks on this show. But so far this season, we've been very happy. And they better not let us win a national title while we're still doing this show, because we will be obnoxious for a long time. We're already obnoxious. We haven't done anything in 2 decades, so we can imagine how that's going to go.
I'm holding back on any UF slander until the clock hits 0.
Fort Knox says, thanks for not clowning my Giants, Chris. Why would I even bother? I mean, it's like we knew that was going to happen. I was watching the game. I knew that was going to happen. I'm a Jets fan. I knew it was going to fall apart. I did not know the Dolphins would be as bad as they are. So if I was going to clown anybody, it would absolutely be the Fish, because they are horrendous, and every player on the team hates being there. And the coach came out on a press conference and was like, we lost because we lost the game. And he looked like he was absolutely lost in his head. So, Steve, at what point do you think you got to turn to your backup quarterback to get him a little run and see if that's the spark?
It's 55-10. They should have did it last week. I mean, you had to just save some of his confidence, bro. I mean, to be real with you, that's one of those when you pull a kid, you might help him because it just clearly the moment was too big for him. And do I think he throws 5 interceptions again? Probably not. If he does, he just
Steve, you missed what we were talking about.
Oh, my bad.
We're talking about the Dolphins.
Oh God, my bad. But I don't think
it's funnier because you seemed like very excited about the fact that you're going to pull your starter. And for a second, I was like, "Oh, Steve-O has turned the ground on Zach Wilson."
Oh no! That's definitely my bad. I was reading something that just came in, and it was definitely a nightmare. If you're talking about going to Wilson, I just take that step and just go to Ewers and see what he has, because we know what both of the guys have. The Dolphins. I don't even want to talk about the Dolphins. I'd rather talk about anything else than the Dolphins.
All right, well, hopefully we're talking next week about another Miami Hurricanes victory. And that's all. That's what unites us here on this show. We're about uniting ourselves on this show and not talking about our football teams, which are all terrible at the professional level. But anyway, that'll do it for us. Thank you guys for watching the show. We'll see you guys again next week right here, as always, on 3 Live Canes. Everybody have a good week.
This is for the national championship for Nebraska.
He's a stud, that Brown, number 98.
Irvin's got it. Irvin's free.
Slips to the outside, tries to stiff arm, and he couldn't get by Ray Lewis.